We got another woke disaster here. There's a brand new poll out that shows voters overwhelmingly reject transgender athletes competing in women's sports. Surprise, surprise. We're going to look at the poll. We're going to see the growing number of states that have now banned transgender athletes from participating in female athletics. And make sure to stick with me all the way to the end of this video when I'll reveal precisely why the transgender movement has definitely stalled and failed. You're not going to want to miss this. Greetings, Patriots all across the globe. Dr. Steve here with you. Great to be with you. As always, I am your Patriot Professor at your service, so make sure to smack that bell and subscribe button, and also make sure to click on the link below and get some of our really cool Patriot merch and gear out there. It's a great way to both support this channel and spread Patriot hope far and wide. These designs are punchy and fun. I got my everything woke turns to you know what. So make sure to grab one for yourself and for the Patriots in your life. Click on that link below or go to store.turleytalks.com. That is store.turleytalks.com. All right, let's dive right in here. We've got a very interesting gauge into the current state of our nation's culture and the state of its current moral sentiments. The Washington Post, one of the more leftist rags in the nation, conducted a poll of American attitudes towards transgender athletes competing in women's sports. And the poll was clearly shocking for the woke left. The poll found that 55% of those surveyed opposed transgender athletes competing in high school female athletics, and 58% opposed transgender athletes competing in college female sports. Only 28% supported transgenders competing in college female athletics. It was a poll that showed a clear repudiation of this stuff from the vast majority of the public. Now, interestingly, the Post did what they could to try to spin this into a win for the woke left. They concluded, quote, "Despite being mostly opposed to their participation in sports, the post-UMD poll finds Americans' general attitudes towards transgender people to be more positive than negative." Now, why they find that surprising, I have no idea. Obviously, because there's a radical difference between accepting, loving, and embracing people on the one hand and requiring impossible physical demands on the other. We may be sympathetic toward a grown man who thinks he's 5 years old. That doesn't mean we're going to let him start playing Little League baseball. And that's really what we seem to have here. At least that appears to be clearly what the majority of Americans think we have here with the issue of transgenders in female sports, which is someone competing with a physical biological advantage that no other competitor has. Again, you'll notice it never goes the other way. It's never a question of whether transgender athletes should be allowed to compete in men's sports. And that's obviously because the key advantage here, the physical advantage, is completely lost. I think Phil Klein had a really good point in a recent article where he contrasted the success of the gay rights movement with the seeming failure of the transgender movement. And here's what he writes, quote, "While there are many reasons for the rapid shift in opinion on gay marriage, one strong component to it was that there was a libertarian thread at the heart of it. Proponents argued that if two men fell in love, decided they wanted to spend their life together, and wanted to make it official, it should be their own business and nobody else's. Arguments made by social conservatives about the breakdown of traditional marriage did not prevail, especially with the younger generation, because people ultimately concluded that one couple's same-sex marriage poses no threat to anybody else's ability to have a happy heterosexual marriage. The libertarian argument is what helped win over a lot of small government Republican and independent voters to the cause of gay marriage. In 2004, just 19% of Republicans supported gay marriage, according to Gallup, but by 2021, a 55% majority did. What's substantially different about the current debate on the transgender front is that it has moved away from the successful strategy of gay marriage proponents. While the public is broadly accepting of the idea that adults who want to identify as a different gender and undergo hormone treatment to live out their lives should be given space to do so, transgender activists are pushing for changes that have direct ramifications for others. Two men falling in love and getting married may not directly affect anyone else, but when an athlete who has gone through male puberty starts to dominate a woman's sport, it does. And I think that's golden. That's a key observation for why transgender activism is floundering in a way that gay activism didn't. Gay rights is seen, for right or for wrong, it's seen generally as libertarian in nature, whereas transgender rights are increasingly seen as totalitarian and authoritarian in nature. They want you, the female athlete, to step aside, regardless of all the hard work and sacrifice that you put into this. They want you to step aside and allow athletes that are physically in a completely other league to take your place. Now, that's a very, very tough sell. And obviously, it's not working. And we see that with all the states that have already banned transgender athletes from competing in female sports. You're not going to believe this list. But before we get into that, gang, make sure to click on that link below and join me on July 8th at 2 p.m. Eastern Time for a special online webinar where I'm going to show you how Patriots can win during tough times, and not only win, but absolutely flourish. This is going to be an awesome webinar where I'm showing you precisely why I'm so optimistic about a conservative future, and you can be too. Click on that link in the description below to sign up now with our early bird special. It's a limited time special for discounted tickets that will be available only for a few days. So don't wait. Click on that link, and I'll see you on July 8th for a day you will not soon forget. All right, so you may not know this, but already about 20 states have banned transgenders from competing in women's sports, and that number is only going to rise. Okay, those are just the laws that passed. Over 30 states have introduced comparable bills that would prevent transgender athletes from competing in women's sports. And keep in mind, these laws are getting supported by the likes of none other than, say, Caitlyn Jenner. Remember, Caitlyn Jenner was the absolute hero of the far left, until Jenner began to stand up consistently for Republican issues. Then Jenner was dropped faster than Biden's poll numbers. But it's not just Jenner. Tennis champion Martina Navratilova, who's part of the LGBT community, she's been very critical and outspoken on the obvious unfairness of biological males competing in women's sports. And again, that's the key. Most Americans appear to be fully supportive of whatever anyone wants to do, as long as it remains inside the bounds of a libertarian ideal, right? Do whatever you want to do as long as it doesn't affect anyone else. However, the moment what you want to do clearly affects others, then people are going to be a lot more hesitant to support it. So needless to say, the political ramifications of this issue really have only just begun. I'm sure many of you remember just a few months back when Florida Governor Ron DeSantis signed an official proclamation declaring the runner-up in a recent NCAA women's swimming event as the true winner instead of the transgender athlete Leah Thomas. If you recall, Leah Thomas was widely touted as making history by the radical left media by becoming the first openly transgender athlete to win a Division I national championship. In the process, Thomas, who of course is a biological male, won the championship by beating Emma Wyant. Wyant was a silver medalist in the Tokyo Olympics last year. She's absolutely amazing. She's posted some of the fastest times in women's collegiate sports. Well, now she's had to resign herself again to a silver medal because the NCAA made the decision to allow Thomas, a biological male, to compete in women's swimming. And so in response to all this, Governor DeSantis issued a proclamation rejecting the victory of Leah Thomas and declaring instead Florida's own Emma Wyant as the true winner and the officially recognized best women's swimmer in the NCAA's Division I freestyle. Now, of course, the left-wing activists disguised as journalists in the lamestream media freaked out over all this, but alas, to no avail. DeSantis isn't listening to them anymore, and clearly the vast majority of Americans aren't listening to legacy media anymore, at least when it comes to this issue. When all is said and done, it does look like the cultural left does, in fact, have inherent limits in terms of what they can do. Despite having all the cheerleaders in the lamestream media in the university and woke corporate boardrooms, it appears that anything that goes beyond a general libertarian ethos is de facto out of bounds for most Americans. Most Americans are willing to allow you to basically do whatever you want, but it absolutely cannot affect others. And that appears to be precisely why the transgender movement has effectively stalled. Now, before you go, you will definitely want to check out my latest video I just uploaded on woke Twitter employees getting caught plotting to ban the Libs of TikTok channel. You're not going to want to miss this, so make sure to click on that link, and I'll see you over there. God bless.